So this is what the skirt looks like on the baby, and you can see on the other side, there's her tag, but you can see how the skirt looks on the back side of the baby, and you could pull it tight with the tie. Will help hold it on and make sure it stays on the baby. And then here is the top sweater. If you like the sweater, there's a separate video tutorial for that. And the hat also comes unbuttoned and is removable. And then the front, you could see there's a cute shark. You could either leave the top without the shark face, but if you like the shark face, you could see the shark on the front of the sweater. And then also she has cute little matching shark sock slippers. They're the same color. You have the soft pink and then the hot pink. And then you also have her cute little hat with the shark teeth along the rim, and then the cute little eyes with the eyelashes, and then she has her shark fins. And that's what it looks like. For this project, you're going to need your J crochet hook or 6mm crochet hook. And also you're going to need a good pair of scissors. And I used 2 tapestry needles. Now for the skirt, I'm going to stick with the lighter pink and the hot pink color. I'm going to start with the lighter pink for the top of the skirt. And we're going to start with a slip knot. So you're just going to take your lighter color and just fold it over into a loop. And then I'm using my J or 6mm crochet hook. Just put it right through the loop and then hold the base with your middle finger and thumb. And then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. And then you're going to make a chain for the size that you want around the waist. So you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through the loop for a chain. So far I have a chain of 3, chain of 4, chain of 5. So go ahead, keep making your chain for the size that you want. You just measure it around the waist. And I'm making mine for around 3 to 6 month size baby. So if you want to make yours the same size as mine, come back and I'll show you what size my chain is. Mine is a chain of 50. So I made a chain of 50. Now we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to take that last stitch you made and hold it with your middle finger and thumb. And then you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as your first double crochet. And now we're going to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding with your thumb and middle finger. So you just yarn over, go into the 4th chain from the hook. Going to bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. And now you're going to do 1 double crochet into every stitch back across. So I'm just going to do a couple with you so you can see how to do it. So 1 double crochet into every stitch back across. I'm going to do 1 more with you. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So go ahead, finish doing 1 double crochet into every stitch back across, and then come back. Now once you reach the end, this is what your work should look like, and you're just going to form a circle. Make sure it's not twisted, and then you're going to take your crochet hook and go through the top stitch of that first double crochet that you did. So take your crochet hook and go into that top stitch, and then you're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull that yarn, turn the hook upside down, and you're going to pull that yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then go ahead and set your work down for a second, because you're going to take your loose yarn end on the opposite side, and you're going to take your tapestry needle and just place it onto your tapestry needle. And then you're going to take the bottom stitch of that first double crochet, to join the bottom part with the loose yarn end. And then you have a complete circle that's made, but go ahead and tie a knot. So just go into the bottom stitches of both of those double crochet and tie a knot. And then don't worry about the loose yarn end, we'll bury that later. So now you have a joined circle, and we're going to make the top part of the skirt. So you did your chain 3. That's going to count as your first double crochet. Now you're going to do a chain 1, and then you're going to do a double crochet into the same stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So you just created your first V-stitch. I'm going to show you how to do a couple V-stitches, but you're going to do a V-stitch all the way around back to the beginning. So you're going to skip the next stitch, you're going to yarn over, skip, let me just show you. So here we worked into this double crochet, and this is the next stitch. So you're going to skip this stitch and work a double crochet into the next stitch. So you're going to yarn over, skip a stitch, work a double crochet into the next stitch, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to work a double crochet into the same stitch. And then you're going to skip a stitch and work a double crochet into the second stitch, chain 1, and then work a double crochet into the same stitch. And you can see how you're creating a V-stitch across the top, and that's where you're going to put your tie to hold the skirt up on the baby or the doll. So now I'm just going to work one more with you. You're going to yarn over, you're going to skip a stitch, and then you're going to work a double crochet into the second stitch. You're going to bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. Then you're going to chain 1, then you're going to work another double crochet into the same stitch. So go ahead, finish making a V-stitch all the way around back to the beginning, and then come back. So now I have 2 stitches left, so I'm going to go ahead and do one more V-stitch, skip a stitch and do a V-stitch into that last stitch, and then I'm going to go ahead and join. So to join this round, you're just going to take your crochet hook and go into the top stitch of the double crochet. So that would be the 1, 2, 3rd chain up. And then you just yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to finish off. You're just going to yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And now we're going to join the bottom, because this V-stitch is going to be along the top of the skirt. So now you're going to find the back of the skirt, which is where you were doing your joining, and where your loose yarn end is, and we're going to join a new color. So now you're going to find the back of the dress, where your loose yarn end is, where you join the bottom, and you're going to take your crochet hook and go into that stitch, and you're going to take your new color and bring the yarn through, and then you're going to do a chain 1. So you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a chain. And then you're just going to take and tie a knot, and I'm just going to use my loose yarn end that's already there. And now I'm going to go ahead and bury those loose yarn ends as I work. And the first thing I'm going to do is just make a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3. That's going to count as my first double crochet for this round. And then you're going to take your 2 loose yarn ends. You're going to bury those as you work. So you're going to yarn over. You're going to go into the next stitch behind your loose yarn ends. Bring up a loop with your new color. You have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, go through 2. Then you have 2 loops remaining. Yarn over and go through those 2 for a double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So yarn over, go in the same stitch, bring up a loop with a new color, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So we're doing an increase round where you do 1 double crochet in one stitch and then 2 double crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to do a couple of these with you. So in the next stitch, you're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch behind the loose yarn ends, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2 for a double crochet. And then you're going to do 2 double crochet into the second stitch. And then you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the beginning. So I'm going to do one more set with you. You're going to do 1 double crochet into the first stitch. And then you're going to do 2 double crochet into the second stitch. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to the yarn marker. And then come back and I'll show you how to join that round and move up to the next round. So now I'm back to the beginning. So you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go into that top stitch of that first double crochet that you created. And then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both loops for a slip stitch. And then we're going to move up to the next round. So you just chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now you're going to do 1 double crochet into every stitch around. So 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way around. Until you complete the size of skirt that you want. So you're going to join and then chain 3 for every round, and then you're just going to do 1 double crochet into every stitch for each round until you have the size skirt that you want. So now you should have completed a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if you want the same length as my skirt. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an extra little bit of a design. So I'm going to take and change colors for just 1 row. So I'm going to take my pink color again, I'm going to loop it, and then I'm going to do a chain 1. And then you can go ahead and cut your previous color and tie a knot. If you don't want to do this extra step, then when you come back, you can start right where I start the design with the shells. But if you like this little added color, you can follow along with me for this part of it. And now you're going to bury your loose yarn ends as you work. So you're going to take your crochet hook, go into the next stitch over, go behind your loose yarn ends, bring up a loop with your new color. You have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both for a single crochet. And we're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around, just to add a cute little pink stripe before we start our shells. So go ahead and do 1 single crochet into every stitch all the way around, and then come back and I'll show you how to join and move up to do the shell stitch. Now when you reach the first stitch, you're going to take your crochet hook, go into that first stitch, yarn over, and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then we're going to join or change colors back to the main color. So you're just going to chain 1 and then just take and cut your previous colored yarn and then tie your knot. So if you decided that you didn't want to change colors, then you would just start where I'm starting now, as if you didn't do anything. So now you just take and you're going to do a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to do, that counts as your first double crochet. So then we're going to do 1 more double crochet in the same stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. Then you're going to make a chain 2. 1, 2, and then you're going to put 2 more double crochet into the same stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, yarn over and go through 2. And then we're going to put 1 more double crochet in the same stitch, and you can see your beautiful shell. So we're going to do that all along the border, the bottom of the skirt. So now you're going to skip 2 stitches, and don't worry about your loose yarn ends, we'll just bury those later. So you're going to yarn over, skip 2 stitches, work a double crochet into the 3rd stitch, and then you're going to work another double crochet in the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to work 2 more double crochet into the same stitch. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around along the border or the bottom of the skirt. And it's just going to create a beautiful little shell design along the bottom of the skirt. So I'm going to do 2 more with you so you can see how to do this. So I'm going to yarn over, I'm going to skip 2 stitches and work 2 double crochet into that 3rd stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2 and then work 2 more double crochet into the same stitch. You can see how I hold my fingers too as I work. I've had some beginners tell me that I went too fast, so that's why I'm going slow, so they can see how I work my stitches. Okay, so now go ahead, finish doing your shell stitches all across the bottom just like I showed you, and then come back. Now I've worked my shell all the way around and I have 3 stitches left. So I'm going to squeeze one more shell. I'm going to skip one space and then I'm going to do one shell right in the center. And then I'm going to take and join the shells. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the top stitch of that first double crochet. So go into that top stitch and then you're going to yarn over and you're going to turn your hook upside down and go through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you're going to finish off just going to yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then you have your cute little skirt. So now you just have to bury your loose yarn ends. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You just take on the inside, which is the wrong side, you're just going to take your tapestry needle and put that loose yarn end onto the end of your tapestry needle. And then you're just going to take and weave your tapestry needle through the inside of the skirt. And then you just take that loose yarn end and just cut it. Just makes your work look nice and neat. And it also helps so that your knots don't come out or come undone easily. So go ahead and bury all of your loose yarn ends and then come back and then I'll show you how to do the tie that goes at the top of the skirt. Now we're going to make the tie that goes at the top of the skirt, and you can either use your light pink color or the main color of your skirt, whichever yarn color that you choose. And you're going to take the yarn and fold it over to form a loop because you're going to do a slip knot. And I'm still using my J crochet hook. Just going to put it right through the loop. Hold the base with your middle finger and thumb, and then yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and pull the yarn through the loop for your slip knot. And now you're going to make a chain for the size that you want your tie to be. So you just yarn over and pull the hook through the loop for a chain. So go ahead and make your chain. I'm going to make a chain of 80 and then come back. Now I have a chain of 80. Now I'm going to go ahead and just do 5 extra to make it a total of 85. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can make your length whatever size you want for your bow that fits around the skirt. And then once you're done, go ahead and yarn over and pull the yarn through to finish off. And you just need a little bit pulled through. And then you're going to take the end and you're going to pull down on the chains to form a knot, a secure knot. And then you're going to cut the yarn and you're going to leave about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters on the end. And you're going to do the same thing to the other side. So just pull that knot down so it's secure. And then you're just going to cut the end, leaving about 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters yarn end. And then you're going to take your skirt top and wherever you want your bow, I think I'm going to off center my bow to the side. So I'm just going to start taking my tie and just weaving it in and out between the V's all the way around back to the beginning. Go ahead and finish doing that. So I finished weaving the tie all across the top and I made sure that my ends are equal, and make sure that your waist is not, that it's completely open, because you're going to turn this over to the back. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle with the same colored yarn and you're just going to sew the back part of the chain to the dress just so it won't come undone. And this is optional. It's up to you if you want to do this. I'm just sewing it on just to make sure that it won't come that you won't be able to pull the tie out. And then once you've sewn it in place, you can take your yarn and make sure you come out right where your previous yarn, loose yarn end is, so you can tie a knot. And then I'm just going to take and bury my loose yarn end right where I have the tie. I'm just going to bury both of my loose yarn ends right in the same spot. And now your tie is sewn in place. And now we'll see what it looks like on the baby.